Okay, for this we're going to create an authorization tracker. What this will look like at the end is, sorry, I should have had this up already. We want to build something like this. Something that has a graph. Ignore my slow internet. I'm uploading videos to the website for you guys on here, so that's why it's going slow. So we want to build something like this. So we can enter each day what we did. I'll show you on that side. We want a sheet where I can enter what I did and have it enter into a sheet that will track how much direct therapy has been used and how many where we should be. What this will actually do that's really nice is this red line is going to change as time goes by. So it's automatically going to calculate how many days we are into the authorization, how many units should have been used by that point, and that's what this line will be. And this line here, this bar, will be how many you actually have used so far. So this example, we're right on for supervision, we're below on meetings, we're below on direct therapy, and we haven't done anything for assessment yet. So we're going to build something like this. This video is actually going to be in two parts. The first part is going to be building what the user fills out, and the other part is going to be building the spreadsheet on the back end. So here we go. First, I'm going to name it. I'm going to make authorization tracker. And the first thing I'm going to do is ask the date. And I'll make that a date field. So I'm going to go through these pretty fast because you should have watched, or we've already gone through other videos on how to set up all these data types. Now we're just using them all together. So you have date. I'm also going to add in the staff. I'm going to make this multiple choice. I'm just going to put in my staff, the name of the staff that we have. If you have not a lot of staff, you can type them in all here and just leave it as multiple choice. You can see all of them at once. If you have a few more, so I'll stop. If you have a lot more, you can make this a drop down so you don't see them all the time. Maybe if you have, say, 20 staff. If you have hundreds of staff and you don't want them to all have, or you want to make a list for them, you could just have them type it in. So make that required. So basically I want to know what was the date you provided a service, what was your name. I'm going to ask one more question here that's going to be required, and that's activity. What did you do? So this is just going to be what we were authorized for. So for this scenario, we're going to say we had 3 things that we were authorized to provide: direct therapy, and, direct therapy, supervision, assessment, and meetings. Those are the 4 activities that we were authorized for. So I'm going to leave those as multiple choice because it's a pretty short list. There's no reason to make that a drop down. I'm going to add one more thing right on this field, and that's just going to be comments. I'm actually going to make that a paragraph. I'm not going to make that required. I'll make the first 3 all required. Let me just confirm that they're all required. And that last one won't be required. So that's it. That's all I have to have here. So what I actually want to do is set it up so if you said you did direct therapy, it brings you to a page where you enter your direct therapy hours. If you said you did supervision, it brings you to a page where you say enter your supervision hours. 2 reasons I want to do that. One, you'll see it on the back end where it'll make it much easier to sort that out and make the graph later. The other part is you can give people different fields to fill out based on where they went. You can also give them different instructions. So I might put in under the supervision one, if you click supervision, it brings you to a page which asks you to say start time, end time in units, but also asks you to enter who you supervised. If you did assessment, maybe I wanted a little more information about what assessment you were doing or what was happening. Not something as full as a progress or session note or SOAP note, but just a quick note there. So this is our first part of this is date, what date it was, who you are, what you did, and any comments. You'll notice there isn't the kid's name on here. The reason for that is two reasons. One is we're only going to be tracking this for one kid, so we'll just know who it's for, and I'll teach you how to save links in other videos. And also for PHI reasons. There's no need for a kid's name. If you don't need a kid's name, don't write a kid's name. So we have all those, we'll have those for. Now we want to add a section or another page to bring you to if you said direct therapy. So I'm going to click this button over here for add section. And you can see it put it in a bad spot because I was under date when I clicked that. So it put it after date. That's not what I want. So all I really have to do is see these little up down arrows. Nope. Undo that. We're trying to move it, and for some reason, I'm having a hard time moving where this goes. So what I'm going to do is, for some reason, I can't move this section, but it doesn't mean I can't move other things. I'm just going to move other things. Oh, maybe I can't. All right, so I merged it with the above to make it pretty much go away. So moving on. What I want to do is make sure I'm on the comments one and add the section there. So this one will just be called direct therapy. So you can put some notes here saying, do not use this for supervision. If you're supervising someone who's a direct therapy, use supervision. All these different things. Any notes you want to give them. Now within direct therapy, I'm just going to add 3 fields. Start time, which is going to be a time field. This is going to be required. Another one, end time, which is going to be time, and is going to be required. I'm going to add a third one called units. And I'm actually going to keep this as multiple choice just because I found I like people to just click more than type. So we're clicking and choosing all these things. Why not just click and choose your units? You can have them type it, but I'm just going to say 1, 2, 12. So I go up to 12 options there. I'll make it required. So now they just click into these. Right, trying to keep it simple. Again, you could just make it short answer, validate it as a number, set it to validate it as a number that's between 1 and 12 or 1 and 10 or whatever it might be. I'll just set it up like that. So now I have under direct therapy, I have those 3 fields. The reason I had the staff enter the units is you actually can make the computer calculate the number of units for you. It's just a lot of extra steps on the back end. So we're keeping it simple here and having the staff enter it. So we're going to add another section called supervision. And here I'm going to add start time, make it time, make it required. Add another one called end time. Make it time, make it required. Add a third one called units, not unites, but units. And here I'll show you the other option that I have. So you can make it short answer. Now they can type whatever they want. But what we'll do is we'll make it required, but we'll also put in some data validation and say it's a number between 1 and 12. please enter. Obviously that's pretty high. If you wanted them to only enter a supervision session that lasted up to 2 hours, you could change that number there. So now the person's going to type it in themselves, and they're going to be given, if they put a number lower than 1, it'll give us the feedback, please enter a number. You can have them, if they go over 12, it'll say please enter a number. I think I actually wrote between 1 and whatever. You can give them a description. So you can have the description. Now here I could say, please enter a number between 1 and 12. You could do that. And then down here I could actually say, validate this as a whole number. So now they can't put 1.5. So I can give them the instructions, but they could actually write 111 now, or 120. So just different ways that you could do it. So now I have 3 different pages. I have one to enter the first stuff. It's my second section for if it's direct therapy. Third one for supervision. I start going faster now. And add another one for assessment. Add start time. Okay, so I have it all now for assessment. I'm going to do one more. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to add another section. Add one last section. Okay, so I did this the other way with the multiple choice again, just to show different ways to do it. So now I have 5 sections. The first one, follow up if it's direct, follow up if it's supervision, follow up if it's assessment, follow up if it's meetings. That's it. So now I need to go back to my activity here, click into it, use an advanced setting called go to section based on answer. Now that I have the sections, I can tell it. So if you click direct therapy, if you chose direct therapy, go to the direct therapy page. If you chose supervision, go to the supervision page. If you chose assessment, go to the assessment page. If you chose meetings, go to the meetings page. Now we want to say after section 1, say submit form, unless it's going to go along with those choices there actually, but just helpful to do that. It's also important to say after these ones, after these subsequent ones, say submit form. Because what's going to happen if you don't do that is if you go to direct therapy and after it's going to bring you to supervision, even though you didn't want it to, because it just by default goes to the next section. So see, it's like continue to the next section, which isn't what we want to do. If you end up at the supervision one, you enter the supervision stuff, you go right to submitting it. Change these all to submit form. You actually don't have to do it after the last one because there's nothing you can do other than submit form. That's all you have to do to build this form. So it sounds like a lot. It's a pretty long video so far. Most of it's because I was talking so much as I went through. I'm interested to time myself and see how long it takes me to do it if I'm not talking. Show you a little preview of what you built. Authorization tracker. I would just enter the date, the staff, what I did. See, I chose direct therapy. No comments. I'll say next. You can see it brought me to the direct therapy page. And I'll say we went from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. So that's going to be 3 units. Submit. You've submitted your form. That's great. Let's try again. Let's just test one more. On the 11th, Frank, supervision. Next. And that was from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Actually didn't add the field we talked about. We talked about adding a field in here called who did you supervise. I didn't add that, but you can figure out how to do that. So let's see, say if I put in 2.5, see it's going to tell me enter a whole number. So this was 2 units. Submit it, and now it's done. So that is all about how you set this up for the user as they're building the sheet. Building the data sheet for people. We'll do another recording on how to work with the spreadsheet to get that graph like you want.